Hello, Herm girl. Wanted to make you a video. We are hiking, and it is a beautiful day. It's a little bit hazy. Good for Kenny because he has very light blue eyes, and he's not supposed to go into the bright sun. So this is perfect today. Otherwise, we always have to go at sunset to the beach or some places. But today is perfect. Like maybe it's visible from this lens. The clouds were like right in the clouds over here. It's very beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. And I have greasy hair, so I'm not gonna show my but I am glad we made it out here today. I usually don't. Hello, Kate. I wanted to thank you for the wonderful conversation from last night. It was absolutely delightful, and I very much enjoyed talking to you. And the subjects are so interesting. You have read so much. I mean, you must have read thousands and thousands of books, like Tony Robbins. That's amazing. And I know, I can tell by talking to you, and then you mentioned that you have all these books in storage. So yeah, must be thousands of books you have read. And if you have so many books in storage, and you probably gave some away, so it must be amounting to 7,000 to 10,000 books maybe. I definitely have not read that many books. I have also given some away to the library, and I have read a lot on the internet. And I get a lot of free ebooks also at Project Gutenberg, which is excellent, and you mentioned that as well. And I found that a long time ago when I decided I wanted to translate the book by Friedrich Nietzsche. So I was checking and see this book must be somewhere available for free as an ebook, because it was written in 1883 or something. So, and indeed it was Project Gutenberg. It's a non-profit organization. I recommend it to everybody to check that out. It's absolutely amazing. They have a lot of great books. I also found a book by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, also by Project Gutenberg. Excellent. And I found a book by Rudolf Steiner about sociology, also Project Gutenberg. Anybody can go there and download any book they want. I mean, they have thousands and thousands and thousands of books, maybe hundreds of thousands of books that are transcribed into ebook form. It's really excellent. I even read, it's amazing, that wasn't on Project Gutenberg, but on another website they had The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which is a contemporary book. That I am absolutely impressed with the work you have done, the volunteer work in general, all the volunteer work you have done for the animals, for the dogs, the marathon with the dog, and walking all these dogs all these years. This is incredible, major work. Anyway, what I wanted to say to the teenagers and the kids is, question them, but don't go up to them and question them right up front, because they might hurt you. So wait until you're 18. Keep your questioning for yourself. Keep it in the back of your head. Okay? Always be alert, be vigilant. Watch them, observe them. Are they doing some bullshit on you? Keep it in the back of your head, you know. That doesn't mean we have to be suspicious of people, but we need to know where to organize these things, you know. We need to know mother is not necessarily right. or dead, you know. So we have to keep that in mind, and we have to keep in mind that that nobody is necessarily right about all the applications of philosophy. So when they're 18, they can move out, and then they can live their own lives, and they can pull that file back out of the back of their heads, the questioning file, and they can do a little inventory on their parents and their family and who else they have been listening to or learning from and associated with. And they can just do some checkpoints and see, well, is there something I can draw out for myself? Is there something I can learn from? What is there that I can't learn from? What is there that I question? What is there that I criticize? So that all should be very neatly organized in people's notebooks and in their heads. And with that approach, I think people can become very successful in their lives. They will know how to handle people and know how to deal with them. They will know not to put all of their eggs in one basket of one person. So they will know not to do 100% trusting and telling everybody. It doesn't matter how close they are to that person. Not to, maybe it's good not to tell that person everything. Maybe it's good not to, but it has to be weighed off, you know. Sometimes we do tell somebody, sometimes we do trust someone, and that's good. And then if we get betrayed with that trust, we learned from it, and then we move on, and we meet someone else, and maybe next time we're a little bit more careful, not paranoid, but careful not to tell everything to, and not to, but it's not so much what we tell people, it's more our own attitude, what we expect from them, the kind of stuff, the kind of emotions we put into a person, how much we want to put into a person in terms of expectance. I think it's better not to expect so much, because it's much better to stand on one's own legs and live a good life as a role model, and be an inspirator, and try to bring out the artistic side in us, and not so much be petitioning somebody for love. So I think that's a mistake, to petition someone for love, unless it is a person that you 100% trust. Like I trust Paul. Paul and I, we've been through a lot in these last 15 to 16 years. A lot. And the stuff he has put up with and the stuff I put up with from him is, I mean, it's I don't know who put up with more. We both put up with a lot of stuff. And if we're still together after all this stuff, all these horrible phases and crises and all of this, that means there is a human being here who I can really trust, who I really love deeply, and vice versa. And so this is, I think this is really, I am so deeply grateful to have this friend. You know, this is such a present. And I have to remind myself every day of this. So, and yeah, there's so many people that, I've seen so many people on the internet, they think that a relationship has to do with how they look. Think again, you know, it has zero to do with how somebody looks. Absolutely zero. Relationship has to do with love, true love, and true love does not care about how somebody is built, or how chubby someone is, or how they have their hair, or whether they bleach or have chains around their necks that tie them to vanity. That is the terrible chaining and tethering process of insanity. I am so glad I don't do that. I am free. I'm free from chains. No chains. No, my feathers are not clipped by society. And I am deeply grateful for this. And in the past, I used to always want something from someone. Oh, I would have a crush on this or that guy, and I would need, you know. And I am so grateful that I don't need anything anymore. Man, have you heard about Bom John? He is another Buddha that has evolved in India, and a very young man in his 20s, and he has hibernated in a meditation for several years. And when he came out of the meditation, he began to talk, and all of these Buddhists, monks, came and they bowed their shaved heads in front of him, and in total humiliation, I would say, I would call the world, where I would call it humiliation, the way they acted towards Bom John. And although there's something good in the surrender and the humiliation, or not in the humility, in this humbleness, but I think there's a clear difference between humiliation and humbleness. So there can be humbleness towards another person, my teacher, thank you for teaching me. We can all thank each other, you know, for teaching each other. But then we're on eye level, you know. Why are these shaved head monks giving up themselves into humiliation? That is my question. I don't like that at all. So that's where the religion in Buddhism is. That's the part of Buddhism that's religious and not anymore philosophical. So, and that's also where it begins to contradict the philosophy of the Buddha. Where the religion begins, the philosophy ends. I would say this could be seen as a very clear rule. So I am never going to shave my head for anything. I won't do it unless somebody says you save someone's life by shaving your head, or maybe then. But I'm not going to do it to appease a guru or for any kind of ritualistic purposes. That's where religion begins, and that I find very disturbing, you know. So that Bom John, I think he's for real. He's a Buddha, definitely, and I believe that he has hibernated for several years. He was in complete hibernation. His whole metabolism, as there was nothing moving, and he didn't eat, he didn't drink, he didn't go to the bathroom, and he just sat there in the yoga position and in the lotus position under a tree, and his hair kept growing and growing. He even sweat. There was water coming out of his pores. Where did this water come from? And he's a little chubby, actually. He was a little chubby. So normal, chubby in a way, but healthy, although he didn't eat anything. So what fed him? What kind of energies fed him? How was he able to tap into the eternity and be one with it, kind of like one with like an umbilical cord of mind with the eternal universe that draws its nutrients from that energy alone. And I've heard this now numerous times, that there were people, even in Christianity, that there have been very few people who were able to do this. And then I heard that in a book from a German writer, Clemens Kubi, who wrote about this, that there's actually there's like a association of people who are practicing this in Germany. And I was very shocked when I heard about this. Of course, then a skeptic would always say, "Oh, I need to see the proof." But I personally believe, I don't choose to believe this, I just intuitively feel like this is possible. I intuitively feel like a lot of things are possible. And what you told me about what you learned from that lady, or that the girlfriend when you went to school, what she taught you, that I totally believe that we can, and this is the most fascinating subject in the world, the subject of channeling. Esther Hicks, to go into, to tap, it's like tapping into another energy field, another energy. People can call it soul. I don't like the word soul. It's a little bit too simplistic. Energy, tapping into an energy that will speak through somebody. And when I made that Mindy Has Something to Say video, I wanted to channel her. I've been thinking about that for weeks because I heard about that on the news. I didn't even know who Mindy McCready was. Neither did my husband, although he played country western music in the past. We had no idea who that was, but that's because it's another generation. She's much younger, so she was in her mid-30s, and then I studied that a little bit about her, and then I came to the conclusion that her dog and her boyfriend, they were all murdered. And so it's pretty obvious, when you get all the information together on the internet. Most people don't take the time to do this. All these fans of hers, they just accept this, that she committed suicide, but I don't accept that at all, because I've seen all these different faces, and I see the energy in the faces, and I see the intentions in these faces, and so on. And there's a lot of troubled people out there who have needs that are so powerful, such powerful needs, egoic needs, that override everything else. And also the amygdala, the formation of the brain, has a lot to do with this. So when the amygdala is not big enough, then the egoic needs can completely take over the whole brain and run over ethics and love, and run over caring. And it's very, very, very sad. So that's why I wanted to channel her. And something really, really weird happened. Oh my gosh. Something really scary happened. And I knew that, I already knew, that's getting kind of dark here. I already knew before I did that video, and I bought that wig just for that purpose. And I already knew that I am probably not fit for this. I would freak out if something scary happens. So what happened is, I got that wig, I made that video, and just like when we were 20, and my friend Jasna and I, we were participating at a seance, what ended up happening is, I chickened out, I went in the kitchen and ate pickles. and while we were on that table, Jasna and I, we were the only 20-year-olds, that everybody else was between 30 and 40. And these older people, they were starting to get really annoyed with us. because we kept looking at each other and we would go like this. And I know why, because I was shitlessly scared. So I laughed out of fear, you know. I made it into something funny because I was really afraid. I was terrified. So I ended up going into the kitchen and I decided I need to eat cucumbers now. I need to eat pickles. And so it's the same thing with that Minnie McCready video. I turned it into a joking type of video, but it was only partly joking. I mean, the stuff I said, but I kind of like made her say it, which I don't even know whether she would say it or not. But there was no way in a million years I would be able to channel anybody, because I would get so scared I couldn't stand it. And so that night that I made that Minnie McCready video, I was upstairs with Kenny and Paul in the king size bed, and so I always do this. I sleep there for a few hours next to Kenny, and when he starts kicking, he kicks in his dream. So that's all Great Danes do this. They kick in their dreams because they dream about running, and they have really long legs and long fingernails, and so he ends up like waking me up and when he's running in his dream, and that's always the time for me to get up and go down to my own bed. And so when I went down to my own bed, the moment I was lying down in my own bed downstairs, I heard Paul say, "What's the matter? What's going on?" Like really loud, and I freaked out. And I went up and I said, "What happened? What's going on?" He says, "I just saw you sitting there on the bed." And I said, I was already downstairs in my own bed. He said, "I saw you there." Oh, I must, because he's the radical atheist, because he doesn't leave anything open for anything other than like the physics that is detectable here and now. So he just brushed it off and said, "I must have seen some shadow or something." But it looked like it was me sitting on the bed, and all of a sudden I was like slipping down from the edge of the bed and falling down on the floor. That's what he saw. And so that totally freaked me out. And I already expected something like this in that manner to be going on, and I decided, okay, that's it. I'm not gonna do this again. I'm not gonna do any of these types of things again. I'm not even gonna think about it, because I'm not cut out for it. Just with so many other things, you know, I am not stable enough emotionally. I'm very scared. I'm a very scared person. I'm very cautious, and that's why I also kind of withdraw here into my monastery. So yeah, this is really weird, but it's super ultra fascinating, all of this for me, and it has always been. I've always studied this. My parents had books about parapsychology, and when I was 11 I began reading those, and they scared the heck out of me, and I had to put them back in the shelf, and I had to abandon that for a while because it was just too scary. And then I went back and forth, and I was atheist for many years, because I wanted to believe that none of the spooky stuff exists, because I was afraid of it. So I was never a real atheist, for that matter, not like Paul. I was always like, what if, you know, I don't know, but I better not look at it, so, you know. But then in 2003 I had this remarkable experience. I'm not going to get into this now, but if you're interested, I can send it to you. I wrote a book about my experiences that I had since childhood on. I have some paintings that I drew when I was a child that are quite interesting, actually. So if you're interested, I can send that to you. because it's just very fascinating, the paintings I made, because they indicate that something happened that I have retrograde amnesia about. So yeah, so what else is it that I wanted to say? I had several points that I wanted to talk about. It was the channeling, it was Bob John. I can't remember now what else I wanted to say. Maybe if I remember, I'll make another video. Okay, take care, bye.